I gave my fiancée an ultimatum to cut off her gay best friend before our wedding because he touched me inappropriately twice. She thinks I'm a red flag. After being evicted from his apartment, my fiancé let Gregory live with us. I went into my room to pack some things to leave and I heard my wife encouraging Gregory to go talk to me alone in our bedroom, but he wanted to do more than talk. He came in and locked the door. I immediately shouted at him to get out, but he said we were going to be roommates now, so I needed to be nicer. I told him that was never going to happen. As I talked, he kept walking closer to me until eventually he was close enough to push me down on the bed. I tried kicking him off me, but this time, his grip on me was strong. He tried to give me head and it still haunts me to this day. I screamed for my fiancée to come in and help me, but he said she let him do this. I eventually managed to get him off of me and I punched him. I beat him up so badly and left him with bruises. He also called for my fiancée and she actually came running to help him. She was banging on the door and yelling at me to stop, but that only angered me more. I'm not going to say I'm proud of beating up Gregory, but he deserved it and I don't regret it. When he was out cold, I opened the door and my fiancée was a crying mess. She saw him on the floor and slapped me before running to help him. She screamed that she was going to call the police, but I didn't care. I told her she had to pick between me and him because I wasn't going to stick around if he was always with us. She said I couldn't make her choose because she loved us both. I shouted that he had just assaulted me and honestly, she didn't deserve this last chance I was giving her. Gregory had said she let him come do this to me. So, I called off our engagement right there and she didn't seem to care as much as I thought she would. She was more saddened by the fact Gregory wouldn't be part of our wedding anymore. I said I was sick of Gregory and because I own the house we live in, she was going to have to move out. She said I couldn't do that because Gregory was supposed to live with us. There was no reasoning with her at that point and I could tell she just wanted to help him out. She never really cared about me. No matter what, I would always be second to Gregory. I said my decision was final and I needed her out by the end of the day. She told me I was showing so many red flags and she's sad she missed them before. I couldn't believe she had the audacity to say that as she was holding a literal assaulter in her arms. I let her know that I would be gone the whole day and if her stuff wasn't packed by midnight, I would have her thrown out. I left after that and went to my friend's place where I told him everything that happened. He said he was willing to let me stay the night if I wanted and was really angry for me. Even after beating up Gregory, he still thinks I underreacted. He didn't think my fiancée would ever react like this. He asked if he could call her to tell her off and I didn't stop him. Mostly because I wanted to see how she would react this time. She answered and went on a whole tangent about how he's friends with an abuser and he shouldn't trust me. He said that was rich coming from someone who was defending a predator. She started calling him a bunch of bad words and mentioned that he deserves to be sexually assaulted for calling Gregory a predator. I cut the call right there and we kind of just sat in silence. He took one look at me and I immediately started crying. Whoever this woman was, she's no longer my fiancée or my future bride. She's a horrible person and that single sentence got rid of any feelings I had for her. I didn't take my friend's offer to sleep at his place because when midnight came around, I went to my house. My fiancée's car was still in the driveway and all the lights were on. The door was unlocked and when I went inside, nothing had been moved. All my fiancée's belongings were still all over my house. I could hear talking coming from the kitchen and when I went to see what it was, my fiancée was there with Gregory. When she saw me, she said she was waiting for me to come back and told me to sit down next to Gregory. I asked why she was still here and they both laughed at me. She said there was no way I was serious about kicking her out or calling off our engagement and she was willing to let my tantrum slide this time. That's when I knew she had lost it. I told her that if she didn't leave right this instant, I was going to call the police. She told me to go ahead because she was just going to tell them that I beat up Gregory. I asked why she was defending him and she said it was because she loved him. I asked in what way and she said it didn't matter because at the end of the day, he didn't rope me so I should just go ahead and forgive him. Gregory agreed with her and I got the strongest urge to punch him again. But I didn't. Instead, I pulled my phone out and called the police on the spot. My fiancée asked what I was doing and she looked really worried. I stepped out of the kitchen and ran back to my car. I told the police that there was somebody trespassing on my property and I needed their help. Honestly, I wasn't sure if that was the right move because I had beat up Gregory and he had bruises all over his face. Still, I was willing to risk some jail time if it meant those two would leave my house. The police showed up and I told them that my ex-fiancée was in my house with an intimate assaulter and I feel unsafe in my own home. They went in there but a police officer told me I couldn't go see what was happening. I was stressing out waiting to see what would happen, but then I heard a lot of commotion. Like things being thrown and yelling. When everyone finally came out, both Gregory and my fiancée were in handcuffs. A police officer had blood on his forehead so I can only assume my fiancée attacked him. She kept shouting at me that this was my fault and Gregory doesn't deserve to go to jail. The police officer who went inside the house told me that I didn't have to worry about them anymore because Gregory actually had a history of assaulting other people but he was always bailed out and my fiancée attacked him so she was also going to be spending time in jail. With that, they left and my house has never felt emptier than ever but I'm glad that's over with.